If you're watching this right now and you haven't hit the like button, Billy, get on it. Bug your brother. Tell him to do the same.
So we'll take a positive spin here because we have been pretty negative. So every Friday on the show, we do a segment called Three Studs and a Dud, where Adam kind of does his research and highlights the three guys on the Jays who are really contributing. And I don't think there has been a week since we've done this where Bo Bichette isn't one of the studs, or at least an honorable mention. I know it's early May. How long do we need to wait as a fan base before we start chanting MVP when he comes to the plate?
Oh, good heavens! I almost feel like we should be there already to a certain
Right?
degree,
Okay.
right? Like,
Okay.
I'm always kind of like afraid to say stuff like that because not because I have no problem saying giving takes, but sometimes I know as someone like born and raised in Toronto, I can fall victim to being a massive homer sometimes. But honestly, like there are few players from a position player standpoint who have been as consistent here through the early May as Bo Bichette has been in the entire American League. Like literally apart from, I would say, Shohei Ohtani, I struggle to think of another player who has been, maybe Mike Trout. I guess Mike Trout. And even he has fallen off to a certain degree. But apart from the literal two best players in the world, the next best guy is Bo Bichette. So yeah, I fully support the MVP chance whenever Bo comes to the plate. The guy is an absolute terror, a nightmare for opposing pitchers. He very rarely goes down easy in plate appearances and ABs, right? He makes it difficult all the time, and the base running looks a little bit more improved. And you know what? Honestly, the thing I've looked forward to the most this year was the defense. The defense being improved. And like early on in the year, there were a couple of flubs. And I think based on how last season ended, it added to the chorus of, oh, Bo is not a major league shortstop. Yeah. And you know what? In the last maybe
month,
3 weeks to a month. Yeah. Like I don't think we have talked about Bo's defense at all, and that is wonderful. I am so happy to not have to take phone calls about should we have to move Bo Bichette to second base because because the thing is about Bo is, and you guys know this and everyone knows this, he's so offensively talented, and even if he is a league average defensive shortstop, he's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. That's just the fact, I think.
That was my bold prediction in the offseason. I was like, Bo Bichette will be a league average shortstop defensively. And after that first week, people were sure ready to shovel my words right back into my mouth. But it is such a relief to see him not being talked about. And that's all you can ask out of your defenders, right? Is that they're not making glaring mistakes and airmailing balls into the fans. Like,
well, if Bo is a league average defender, right? Like if you think about, it's kind of tough to do this like on the fly, but if you think about the best shortstops in Major League Baseball, not even just in the American League, just in the entirety of Major League Baseball, if he is a league average shortstop and he continues putting up these kinds of numbers or anything remotely similar to it, and you look at the other guys, Trey Turner is playing in this exact series with the Phillies. He is one of the few shortstops that I think people like the name comes to mind when you think of, who are the best shortstops in Major League Baseball? Xander Bogaerts probably up there. Wander Franco's probably up there. You know, there are a lot of other guys up there. And when you combine talent to age as well, and what the ceiling could necessarily be, even I might even take Bo over a guy like Trey Turner. Wander Franco is a very interesting comparison because he's super young as well. So maybe he's the only other guy you can maybe make that comparison to. But like the guys like Turner and Bogaerts and Carlos Correa and so on, like their age and injuries and production are it's all great production wise. But I think I don't think it's a homer take to say I might take Bo over most of those guys.
I feel the same way.
Speaking of taking Bo over someone, God forbid we get to this point. 3 years from now, we have a tough choice on our hands. Not we, but Atkins and the Blue Jays brass. They only have it in them for one mega deal. Bo or Vlad, who is more vital to this team's success long term?
Or do you just go with whoever says yes?
You might have to, definitely. Yeah, you know, it's funny, every time
You
Vlad
put one
hits a
deal
home
on
run-
the table and you say first one to sign it gets it.
yes. Here are your pens. Like it's like that scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker snaps the broom in half and he throws them to them and say, "All right, good luck, boys." It's like that with pens and Ross Atkins. No, I am looking forward to seeing what happens with the contract situation. I think I just feel like, and again, this could be just maybe adhering too much to what has happened in the past, but shortstop is a more valuable position than first base, unfortunately, right? That's it. And Vladdy is probably never going to be a real terror on the base paths, even if he is incredibly aggressive. Like that's not really a part of his game. His game is having incredible plate discipline and seeing the ball extremely well at the plate and hitting for power to basically every part of the field, which is something, all those things together are things that very few individual players, I suppose, can do. I'm sure many people could do some of those things well, but Vladdy's one of those guys who can do all of it. It's incredible to watch. I also enjoy whenever he hits a home run and he turns to the camera, he does like the money sign, which is phenomenal because he knows he knows what he wants and he knows the front office is listening to him. Having said that, I do think that, like, if the number there that Vladdy's looking for starts with like a 3, let's say, right, when it comes to the new deal, then I have a feeling there might be a longer contract negotiation versus whatever number Bo might want, because shortstop is just a more valuable position. And I think there's also just more, we mentioned Trey Turner and Carlos Correa and some of these guys. Wander Franco's already signed a massive deal. Xander Bogaerts just signed a massive deal with Turner this past offseason. So, and like we were talking about, those guys are older. So I got to think that Bo is probably looking at that and saying, boy, I'm going to be a rich man. I'm going to be able to buy my own baseball team once it's all said and done.
One thing I do want to kind of give credit to this front office for is buying out his RBers, because we watched having that little extra thing for him to think about. We watched him turn down his raise 2 years ago because he didn't like the way that the Blue Jays brass evaluated raises, right? So he just was like, nope, I don't even want it. And then he kind of struggled out of the gate, made things kind of weird. I mean, obviously September, we all know what happens, and he found it. And no one really had doubt that Bo Bichette was going to eventually find it. But just removing that element from his thought process, like, kudos to them.
Yeah, hey, 100%. And I think too, I think the thing that impressed me the most about the arbitration discussions, negotiations, let's call them, I think is that you hear so much from other players over the years that, because what you're doing in arbitration is I'm saying, I think I'm worth this much. And then you as a team, you're going to come to me and say, no, actually, here are all the things you did wrong. I think you're worth less than that. And we've heard over the years that arbitration can be a bit of an ugly process. Like, I think it was Corbin Burns who won the Cy Young not that long ago, basically
was blamed for them not making the playoffs.
Yeah, and which is frankly insane considering how good of a player Corbin Burns is. And then he went to the media and basically says, yeah, you know what? My relationship with the team is not the same as it was. Like, it is damaged because they said all these things about me that I felt were untrue. And yeah, we settled it in the end, but like, I don't view them in the same way. And so that's why I think really, and I'm totally with you, Scott, like, kudos to Ross Atkins and the front office for going out there and saying, you know what, we want to avoid this process. We want to make this a priority because we know not only paying him whatever Bo wants, and he obviously knows what he's worth. He's the son of a major league ball player, so he obviously knows what he should be getting. But at the same time, he also wants to feel valued by the team. Like I would imagine the three of us want to feel valued by all of our various employers, right? And the people who sign our checks. So he got that from the Blue Jays, and I do think it bodes well for contract negotiations down the road. Like, who knows how it goes exactly, but that they did go and, the extra yard to make sure he was signed for at least these RB years, I think it does bode well for me.